Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us on Business Incorporated. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwago. Well, coming up on the show today, Kenyan Central Bank fines 5 banks a total of $3.89 million. Moody's says South Africa's economic recovery will be slow, below Treasury estimate. Plus, Congo Mines Minister insists no compromise on new mining code. We'll begin the show with the markets, and the mood remains low across the major markets here in Africa as the bears dominated the floor at intraday. Here in Nigeria, the index was down 0.67%. The JSE index in South Africa was down 0.50%. Egypt came down 0.53%, and Kenya was also in the red on Wednesday. And in the Middle East, sentiment was also low. However, Qatar bucked the trend to trade higher at intraday. The Qatari market was up 0.32%. Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia were heavily beaten as both indices shed by 1.17% and 1.26% each. Dubai financial market was down 0.82%. And equity indices across Europe traded mixed in morning trade ahead of several central bank meetings. We have BOE, ECB, and Turkey rate decisions on tap. And Conrad is right on the floor of the Frankfurt Stock Exchange to give us details. Hello, Conrad. Good afternoon. I'm sure you have a lot to tell us about the interest rates today, particularly from Europe.
Hello, Jimmy. Thanks for having me back. You're right. It's a busy day today here.
Sure, a big day in Europe in terms of monetary policy. Markets expected the ECB to actually stay on course to curb stimulus and higher inflation and solid growth. What has the Central Bank of the Euro countries communicated so far?
Well, the European Central Bank has delivered to the markets what the markets wanted to hear, I would say. It has said that it is cutting back its bond purchases by half starting in October, which means that from next month on, the ECB will spend only 15 billion euros a month on asset purchases and not 30 billion euros a month it's been spending up until now. And the ECB says that it's most foreseeably going to end the net purchases by the end of this year. But also the ECB intends to reinvest the principal payments from maturing securities, from maturing bonds it has purchased during the asset purchase program for, as it says, an extended period of time after the end of the net purchases. And I quote this, in any case, for as long as necessary to maintain favorable liquidity conditions and an ample degree of monetary accommodation. This, of course, sounds like this is a very, very slow, swift from quantitative easing to quantitative tapering, a very slow swift from a very, very generous money supply to a slightly less money supply. The market likes to hear this. Look at this. This is around about the time when the ECB decision came out. The German share index DAX barely moved. Neither did the euro-dollar exchange rate. The euro continues to be traded at a bit more than $1.16.
Interesting, Conrad. Well, let's look across the Atlantic. The U.S. Federal Reserve has reported that businesses are reducing investment in the U.S. due to concerns about Washington and Beijing's ongoing trade dispute. Any sign of hope for the markets?
Yes, Timmy, there is hope. Also, you know, those negative reports coming from the Federal Reserve have inspired a little bit of hope. Traders here are saying that this is increasing the pressure on the US government to do something. And this pressure has already been rising quite significantly in recent days and weeks. Yesterday, 60 US industry groups have formed a coalition called Americans for Free Trade, and they are trying to convince the Trump administration to, change course in trade policies, or at least do something that those tariffs will come to an end. Today, the American Chamber of Commerce in Shanghai reported, or it published a survey that shows that the tariffs so far, the trade policy uncertainty, has had a significant impact on the business of American companies in China. As a consequence, the American administration has reacted. It has said that it is willing to sit down with the Chinese government again to discuss trade. And also, the government in Beijing already has reacted and has shown a very favorable response to this invitation by the Americans. This, of course, all is reason for the markets to be hopeful. Any sign that the American government can do more than tweeting that it is willing to go sit down at the table and do governance business is positive.
Well, I like that. Anyway, in corporate news, software maker SAP seems to be in trouble again in South Africa, as the country's special investigating unit is investigating whether a kickback of more than 35 million rand was paid for a state contract. Is this causing a stir on the Frankfurt trading floor where you're standing right now?
It is causing a lot of discussions, Chimi. It's not moving the share price of SAP a lot. An analyst I talked to explained to me that despite the fact that these are not the first allegations against SAP of having paid bribes in order to get contracts, so far, generally speaking, SAP has managed to keep the image of being a company that works properly, that communicates quite openly about those allegations, and that shows that it does not hold back any information from the authorities. And this is important for the company to keep up its positive image. Of course, this analyst also told me that those allegations are warning signs. Up until recently, SAP, the software company from Germany, was perceived to be an outstanding company with an outstanding product, with barely competition in the world, because the product was so good. And, the company could go to the market with the claim that no other software product that you use in companies is as good as SAP's. The fact that here now, at least some of the salespeople of SAP in South Africa thought they needed, illegal incentives in order to convince contract partners to sign the contract is a warning sign for SAP. It really has to pay attention that it's not losing its reputation, and that it keeps its reputation of having a very good product, and that it stays a company that works properly without, paying bribes and without supporting corruption.
All right, Conrad, thank you for your time. Let's keep an eye on Russia's interest rate for tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the day.